call the meeting to order. Roll call, Vanessa, or Roxy, or somebody, would you do roll call?
Yes, sir. Pancho Averill,
Here.
Richard Norton. Here. Jose Gonzalez. Javier Martinez.
Present.
Louis LeVault.
Here.
Joey Tejas.
Here.
Javier Compián.
Present.
David Montes. Here. Osvaldo Lara. For the record, Mr. Chairman, you do have quorum.
Thank you very much. First item that we have here is consideration and approval of the minutes from the meeting, the special meeting on May 18th. I hope everybody had time to look over them.
We actually have the Pledge of Allegiance next, if that's okay.
Okay, excellent. All right.
All right, thanks.
All right, everybody ready? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Feel much better.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yes, sir.
Now, do I have, everybody read the minutes from the last meeting? We have a motion to accept.
Yeah, I'm so moved that there's no corrections.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as presented for the special meeting on May 18th. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have one item on the agenda. I'll read it. A request submitted by Park Avenue Construction to authorize an exception to the literal interpretation of Land Development Code Section 24-77 entitled Dimensional Standards by granting a variance to the setback requirements of an unplatted tract of land known as the south 1/2 of the west 2/3 of Lot 8, Block 1929, Eastern Division, located at 3102 Legarda Street, by reducing the front yard setback from 20 feet to 10 feet for the proposed construction of a single-family detached dwelling unit. Is there anybody to speak on behalf of this?
Ms. Gatsa has a presentation to present.
Well, you want to do the presentation first? Okay.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, for the record. The Board of Adjustments, today, item 6A. The overview is the applicant is Park Avenue Construction, is the owner and applicant. Armand Van Loor is the representative. The property description is an unplatted tract of land known as the south half of west 2/3 of Lot 8, Block 1929, Eastern Division, located at 3102 Legarda Street.
Excuse me a second. Can we have it on, or can we
At
get
the
this on here?
moment, it's not coming out on the screens. According to our PIO office, they're getting ready to revamp all the equipment in here. They had a blowout, so we're working with
Okay.
half a.
All right, sorry to interrupt. Keep on
Oh,
going.
it's okay, don't worry. The request a variance from the dimensional standards as required by the Laredo Land Development Code, Section 2477, entitled Dimensional Standards, by reducing the front yard setback from 20 feet to 10 feet for proposed construction of a single-family detached dwelling unit. The applicant's position: the applicant requests the following variance: to reduce the front yard setback requirements to maximize the usage of the lot and the design. It will not be able to if not granted the variance. Is it the aerial view?
No, I think we have that in our packet.
Yes, you have the.
How do you
the-
get it?
Okay.
Some of you do and some of you don't. There's a button on the under the counter,
Yeah, the computers are on.
but you don't see the presentation. No, I don't think so.
I have the agenda,
Okay, that's
and
what
on
you
the
see.
agenda.
Okay. Yeah, they're getting ready to remove all this month. so.
All right, we're done?
Oh, I have the presentation.
I'm sorry, do the rest of you see the packet on your screen?
No, no one sees it. Okay.
That's the agenda, maybe.
Yeah, they just have the agenda. They're just
Not
gonna have
even.
to walk off that.
This is all we have.
And
No,
then you
on
have
our
it
screen, all we see is City of Laredo, the logo.
Where's your,
And you don't have it, you don't have it. Can you go
to City of Laredo Planning Department? Can you type in City of Laredo Planning
I've
Department?
been City of Laredo when you.
Here, Planning Department.
I was trying to go to
Open
the website, but it doesn't let me
Oh, there?
connect to the planning website.
Oh, there is an error to go
It's
to
not
the
letting it?
website.
It's not
It's
going
like if
in.
the planning website is down.
It's not allowing it.
At our city council meeting, we were told that all we had was that screen and the screen here in front to work with, so they should not.
Do you have the packet with you?
I have the agendas printed,
But not a packet?
another packets.
Let me see if I can go make some copies.
I just need the picture of the land,
Go
not
to
not
City of
even the
Laredo.
aerial,
Type in
just the
City of Laredo.
the actual,
You can get to the City of Laredo website, you just can't get into the
you
sub,
can't get into
the
the,
subdirectories.
I did.
Oh, perfect, thank you so much.
In planning and zoning.
Well, let me get in there first.
Or
Yeah,
they
unless
sent
it
the
doesn't-
text to me.
they did send the text, they sent the text.
Mr. Chairman,
In the
would you like
text
to
there
take
was
a 5-minute break so we can get the copies and bring them to you all?
I can project the packet.
Or would you like her to finish her presentation?
I don't know,
Do you want me to finish?
members, you wanna take a break, or you wanna just go based on what we're looking at here?
Let's do this, let's go as far as we can go.
Yeah, all right, let's keep on going. Having said that, is there anybody to speak on behalf of this?
Well, yeah,
Sorry, can I finish the presentation?
Oh, I thought you were finished.
Well, I got stopped here. So, this is the aerial view of, 3102 Lagarde Street. There were some complications, this is the zoning map, and the zone is an R2. This is a street view of what it looks like at the moment.
How big is the lot?
3192 square feet,
What
Yeah,
is,
but dimensions.
the dimensions.
Yeah,
It's
how
a,
big-
it's a 46 by 30, it's a 46 by 69. This is a previous approved site plan. The previous approved site plan with a 20-foot setback, the building department did issue a building permit for this design. This is a proposed site plan where the front yard setbacks is being reduced to a 10-foot setback.
go back to the other one for a moment.
Yes,
Now, it says previous approved site plan.
yes.
Explain that.
So that was, presented to the building department, as I guess the first, proposed plan, and they did receive a building permit to build this.
So there was a building permit
Yes, sir.
Yes.
already issued.
Yes.
All right, keep on going.
This is a proposed site plan for the reduced setbacks, asking the variance on this plan. The previous design versus the proposed design. The previous design is a 3-story residential dwelling. The total living area is 2,218 square feet. The design was approved. It complies with the front yard setback requirements of a 20-foot setback, and it did receive a building permit. The proposed design is a 2-story residential dwelling. The total living area is 2,360 square feet. The design has been denied, and this design has been asking for a variance of a front yard setback requirements of 10 foot. The board has authority to grant variances. The Laredo Land Development Code allows for the board of adjustments to vary the building setbacks in a peculiar or unusual circumstances which would prevent the reasonable use of land. The Land Development Code section 24.1.3.2 subsection 2E. And 2, grant a variance in applicable cases that the strict enforcement of the zone, of this ordinance shall deny the property owner the use of the property if any reasonable use. Staff recommendations. Staff does not support the following proposed variance for the following reasons. There are no peculiar or unusual circumstances associated with the property which would prevent the reasonable use of land if the variance were not granted. This is a corner lot, approximately 3192 square feet, and it shows no topographical features like extreme slopes or unconventional shape that would be considered as peculiar or unusual. 2, the proposed construction is a single-family residence which is allowed on an R2 zoning district. Denial of this proposed variance does not prevent the reasonable use of land. The property is zoned as an R2 district as per the Laredo Land Development Code Section 2477 dimensional standards. The front yard setback requirement is a 20-foot setback. And number 4, the building department has issued a building permit to the applicant for construction of a previous submitted 2218 square foot design. Denial of the proposed variance does not prevent the applicant to construct the previous approved design. Proposed motion. And Mr. Chairman, I am done with my presentation.
All right, is there anybody to speak on behalf? Need to open up the public hearing.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a motion second to open up the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead, sir. State your name.
Armand Bandler, board for the record.
Go ahead.
Sir, this lot has gone through a lot of transitions, a lot of changes, but at the end of the day, to condense it, we're just trying to utilize the lot as much as possible. We have approached the building department and asked them what the requirements are if we were able to get a 10-foot setback. It was thought initially that this project had, it was a lot of record. So we redesigned it based on that information. When we resubmitted this to the building department, they came back and said, wait a minute, it was actually recorded after September 1st, 1979, and it does not qualify for a lot of records. So we went through the process of redesigning, assuming that that information was accurate, and it wasn't. So we came back and we tried to look at other options to figure out what we needed to get the 10-foot setback along Legado Road, because there was no infrastructure issues, there was no structures there, there was no obstruction of vision. We weren't hindering any of that, any of those items. So this is why we're here today, to see if you can grant us the variance that we need for the 10-foot setback, just solely based on the improvement to the community in that area. And this is a very nice project. I'm not sure we can pull up the project, the elevations or renderings or any of the floor plans. It's a contribution to community, and we feel that it doesn't hinder any safety issues, and it would help us resolve the current design that we have right now and ready to submit to the City of Laredo for a building permit. I believe staff, if I'm not mistaken, voted favorably to have the 10-foot setback approved, so we're just asking the Board of Adjustments to be in agreement with that recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, the rendering is in your packet.
All right. Towards the end, right? I think I just saw it.
Yes, previous approved design. It's identified as previous approved design.
Let me ask you a question, sir. The property, did you purchase a property to be able to build this?
Yes, sir. The original owner, Pati Martinez, needed the builder to buy the property in order to get the financing she needed to make this project possible. In the initial conversation with the building department on whether this was a lot of record or not, we've already gone to about 2 years past that initial conversation, and multiple designs and multiple ways of us trying to get this done, that unfortunately the owner is also absorbing a burden of a cost increase on the materials it takes to build this. So initially cost estimates were roughly $200,000, and now we're looking at spending $240,000 on this project. So she bears that burden as well. So we'd like to see if we can stop the bleeding, so to speak, and get this project going. But yes, currently right now, Park Avenue Construction owns the property, and they will finance the house to the previous owner.
So the fact that you owned the property when you purchased it, you knew that the shape of the lot was odd shape. It was 2/3, 1/2 of 2/3.
Yes, and it did get replotted. We were just under the assumption that it was a lot of record. And so we figured under the lot of record under the planning and zoning on an R2, on a lot of record, you're allowed a 10-foot setback. Apparently, when it got,
Where do you get that?
So, September of 1979, anything that before that didn't have to plat, and it becomes a lot of record of 1979, and that setback is 10 feet. This lot came in November of 1979. They missed it by 2 months to get a lot of record. If they would have had a setback of 10 feet, and they did not. So their setback is set at 20.
Set at 20.
Yes.
All right. Is there any questions from the panel here, from the members of the committee?
I have a question. What is setback in the backyard? To the back? 10 feet?
Six.
Six? Did you go back as far as you can?
yes. I don't have, sorry, I don't have the pamphlet in front of me. I would give you the dimensions.
Quite honestly, you know, I see this as you're trying to maximize the amount of space. I understand that, but I'm also understanding that you already had a design and an approval to move forward. So why the change?
Because in that whole process, we found out that that it was not, that the variance is an option. And we went back and tried to find out the best opportunity for us to get that 10-foot setback. So we are at this junction right now. We've met with the building department, we've met with planning and zoning, and I think that we're still in our legal grounds to be able to request a 10-foot setback along the garden. And again, it's just the owner's already on his little lot. It's kind of very hard to get this lot's very small. It's 3,000 something square feet. So we're trying to just maximize that for her as much as possible.
To understand what you're coming from there, but please understand that the ordinances are there for a reason. And we're not at liberty to just grant one just because. If there's the circumstances that were pointed out were met, it would be different. But anybody have any other questions?
Orly,
Yes,
what's the, on the 3,000, how big is the lot?
3,000.
6,000.
3,192.
Can
Square
you
feet.
build, can you get approval for a 2,000 square foot house?
Yes.
He has
I thought it was,
He has approval.
He has approval.
He has approval.
I thought
He's
it was
go- he's-
I
he's
thought the
building
lots have
up.
to be 6,000.
Okay, so this particular lot, like I said, this is an old lot, right? So this lot had a house on it. So I guess I'll give a little bit of history of this. So there was a house on this property. Person came in wanting to build a new house, was given a permit by the building department, and so they tore down the house, a demolition permit. So they tore down the house. Come to find out that they technically couldn't do that. So City of Laredo had to redo the ordinance that allowed for reconstruction. So because that lot was an older lot, somebody already had lived there, they had water, sewer, and light. The ordinance allows for them to reconstruct without having to replat.
Okay.
So.
How big
this
was
is
the
a-
house that was knocked down? Any,
Big enough, I mean, it fit on this lot, I mean, it was a
I
small
mean,
house.
they may be allowed to reconstruct it, but they're not allowed to put a bigger house on it, are they?
As long as they stay within the setbacks.
Okay.
So so I think you saw up there that their first design was to go 3-story. So my understanding is they wanna go 2-story. When they went 2-story, that fattened the layout.
Can't go any farther back.
Right. But the 3-story does fit within inside though.
Can I ask,
Go ahead.
Mr. Navarro,
Yes,
they're in R2 right now.
correct.
the way that the lot stands, it could never meet any zoning,
So,
any of them, none of them.
right.
But can they still zone down? Like if they zone down to an R1, even if it's an MH? Like I thought you could zone down with a non-conforming, like an old lot like that.
So they can, what we're doing is we're respecting the setbacks of an R2, which is fine with the client. I mean, they have the right to come in if they wanna come in with a zone change, but they were willing to stick with the R2. And the building department looks at the setbacks for an R2, and that's where they come in at 20.
Would they be able to zone down from an R2 to an R1 MH?
Manufactured house?
The setbacks are
The
the
setbacks are-
same for R2 and
No,
R1?
they're not. R1 MH has a 10-foot setback.
Oh, R1 at Mage. I thought you
MH.
said R1.
No, R1 MH. Because you're not obligated to have a manufactured home on an R1 MH. R1 MH allows you to have a fixed structure as well as a mixed, or as a mobile structure. But if you zone down,
Even,
it may
It
not
might-
be effective for them economically on the value of the lot. The value of the lot goes down, but he'll still be able to accomplish what he wants to accomplish.
the only thing I can say to that is that it's not a guarantee. He has every right to request a zone change. We can take it through the process, but ultimately it's a city council decision for that zone change. Lately, I haven't, an R1MH is not very popular, but I can't say whether he would get it or not, but he definitely could if he wanted to, yes, especially for the dimension of the setbacks.
And because the lot, no matter what, it technically shouldn't, the city should start rezoning all these small lots and get them out of the R2, it's not.
Well, one of the things we were talking about, I know this is technical, but the R1B is established for new developments, but we're looking at possibly having that standalone so that we have another option for a smaller lot.
I mean, but-
So,
I guess the point is, no matter how you change the zone change from R2 to whatever, the minimum lot size is a barrier anyway, period. So, but my memory was that you could downzone, I guess, less intensive uses for a non-conforming lot. And so if he's open from R2 down to any of the R1s, the R1 MH is the one that allows him to change it, and then he gets the 10-foot setback
That's
that
correct.
he wants.
that would be correct, if he got the zone change.
If he did it that way.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I
Sure.
appreciate Mr. Diaz's comments, but I think this right here, the variance would actually give us the same end result. We'd still have the same square footage, same plan set. Again, if it's approved favorable, with staff and the board, we would achieve the same thing as the zone change.
I agree with you. The problem is that we're extremely limited with what we can or can't do. And the way that the staff explained it in their presentation, even if we wanted to give you your variance, we cannot because it does not prohibit you from using the lot. It has no abnormal features, everything that you went through. And we're limited with what we can or can't do. And I just brought it up just because that's probably the only alternative you've got to get to where you want to get to with a 10-foot setback. And we deal with your case. I haven't been here very long, but every case has been like this. And they're all unfortunate situations. Some are even more unfortunate where somebody inherits something and they're trying to fix it up, but they didn't even buy it. They inherited it and they're trying to make it usable and we can't do anything. And we've been told that every point in time we can't do anything ever since they changed the law. And so I'm sympathetic to where you're at. I was just trying to give you a roadmap of maybe where you want to get to.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Is there any other comments?
There's no hardship here. I agree with Mr. Diaz that we're limited as to what we can do. There's no hardship.
The only hardship I can point out is, I think that originally the building department had mentioned that it was a lot of record, and looking at the deeds a little closer and the dates, we only missed it by 45 days, or else we wouldn't be here asking for a variance. It would be a lot of record and we would be guaranteed that 10-foot setback. Those 45 days is very little, and I think we've gone through designs, we've gone trying to get building to confirm. And, you know, we're here right now, I think legally trying to get this approved. If you can take that into consideration, 45 days, it's very little, or else we would have the 10-foot setback.
All right, is there anybody else to speak on behalf of this? No, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Sure.
Before I close the public hearing, is there anybody to speak against this?
Move to close the hearing.
No, it's time to close the public hearing. I need a motion.
I move.
Have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, gentlemen.
Begrudgingly, I make a motion to support staff recommendation and deny the request for a variance.
A second.
Have a motion and a second to accept staff recommendation and deny the variance request. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Do by show of hands, please, so you can count, make certain we have the right numbers.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Everybody.
I missed the second. Who was the second? Thank you.
Okay. All 7 of us here have voted. Did you get that vote count?
Yes,
sir.
Thank you. Unfortunately, gentlemen, the motion is denied. Thank you very much for bringing it to the council. Is there anything else to come before it? Before this committee?
No, sir. I move.
You moved that we adjourn?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Need a second?
Second.
Motion second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.